their faces. I could just imagine them being like, oh my God, this is the guy that used to sit, and there's some of you in here that God has tasks for you, that you're going to encounter people, and those people are going to get set free because you made a choice to occupy your moment and occupy where you were, and people are going to see them and be like, isn't that the girl that used to be depressed all the time? Don't you remember? She just stayed by herself, and she just, she was kind of lonely. What is she doing? Being outgoing and being joyful and happy. You know what that is? People noticed because you chose to occupy your space and you chose to do something. And because we start occupying our moments and we start occupying wherever we may be, people are going to get set free. Or what about that guy at work that you're in the break room and, he's like one of these guys who's always so outgoing and you would never know that inside he's dying. But in that moment, he said something to you. And you stepped up to the plate and you were brave and you told him and you gave him the only thing that could change him, and his name is Jesus. And you stepped to the plate and you gave him that. And now he has no problem. If people say, hey, how are you, man? Oh, it could be better. You afforded him vulnerability through meeting Jesus. You afforded him the opportunity to say, things may not be great, but I'm going to make it because I know someone who saved and redeemed and set me free. Or what about those parents that they drink all the time, and they argue and they fight? And every night you get on your knees and you say, God, please do something in my household. I don't want my family to fall apart. You start praying these things over your family, and slowly you see that, okay, they're not arguing as much. They're not drinking as much. They're not drinking at all, actually. Because you were brave and you occupied your prayer time for your family, they've been set free. And people are going to notice that. And it's going to be like a domino effect. Your parents will get set free. This guy at work will get set free. This girl at school is no longer depressed. And then they minister to someone and they're set free. And it's like, because you stepped up to the plate and you were brave. We never know in those moments what's going to happen when we decide to step up and be brave. You guys, tonight I need you to know that we have a responsibility to occupy. Not just do we have a responsibility to occupy, but we have a responsibility to be brave while we occupy. Because if we don't do it, who's going to do it? I know for me, sometimes that's an excuse. Oh, well, this next person, they'll probably do it. They can handle it. They can do it a lot better. But no. Because I'm called to reach people that you can't reach, and you're called to reach people that I can't reach. And together we can change our community. You can change your schools. You can change your workplace. You can change your home life. If you don't do it, who's going to do it? For me, sometimes when I look at society and I look at, everything that's going on, I can't help inside to feel like the enemy is winning. And I know that he's not. But sometimes I have those thoughts. And my heart gets so burdened. I get so sad when I look around and I see another suicide because of bullying. And I see all these things, and I see war going on, and families falling apart, and it burdens me. But I know that I can't change this world by myself. I know that I can't do it, but I know that we can do it together. I know that there's plenty of you guys sitting in this room right now that you guys know people that are being bullied, or you know people that have committed suicide due to bullying, or people that got pregnant and have had abortions because of the way people made them feel, or because they didn't have a good support system around them. You guys know people whose families have fallen apart, and now they don't feel like they know what they're going to do. We all know people that need help. We all know people that are hurting and that are broken. What are we choosing to do about it? Because if we don't do it, who's going to do it? See, Peter and John, they had a choice. They could have just kept it moving. They could have just went to the temple and prayed and, gone on with their merry way and had a good day. I definitely just rhymed. That was pretty awesome. But they were moved by this man. This guy, he didn't even know what he had set himself up for. He was just asking for money. And Peter and John, they said, look at us. Do you think we have something to give you? Do you think we have money right now to just be throwing at you? This guy got a holy setup. God done set this man up. Every single day, you guys are in moments that God has set up for you, and you don't even realize it. If we would just slow down, if we would just leave 10 minutes earlier, if we would just be aware that God has called us to a mission field wherever we may go. I go to Starbucks every Thursday, now probably a little bit more than Thursday, but I go every Thursday. And every time I go on Thursday mornings, there's the same 4 old, sweet men sitting there. And like over the last 6 months, I'll just walk in and do my thing, and I'll leave and I'll say, hey, how are you? And I started noticing things that I never really noticed before because I started leaving earlier to go to Starbucks on Thursdays. And so I'll sit there and I'll drink my coffee and I'll just hang out before I go to work. And I've noticed like their conversations, and I'll notice things they wear. Like this one guy, he wears Boston Red Sox stuff all the time. And my uncle and my cousin, they really like the Red Sox. So, I noticed that there's these doors and there's these common things we have. And I'll be honest, I haven't really stepped up to the plate and be fully brave yet. But I do know that while going, eventually, I'm going to occupy that moment. And I'm going to find out if those guys know Jesus. And if they don't, I'm going to give them what I have. But yeah, man, God is awesome. But I'm not the only one that has a story like that. If you guys really sat here and thought you could think that at my lunchtime I see these people and, they just kind of look lonely, and we need to start being aware of our times to occupy. Because we all have times. It's not just me. It's not just, these people that you see up here, Pastor Jason. We all have chances to occupy. Reaching the lost at all costs has kind of been Pastor Jason and I's mantra for life. We've both kind of been through a lot, and we've seen a lot, and we've kind of just come to the place where reaching the lost, no matter what it takes, is what we're going to do. I'm not always the most unawkward person, and sometimes I have awkward conversations, and sometimes things that I feel God leading me to do, they're not always the most comfortable, but it's what I know He's called me to do. Because I'm determined that I'll reach the lost at all costs. When I come into contact with people, I'm determined that no matter what it takes, no matter how uncomfortable, no matter how awkward, that I'm going to do something about it. It may not be the first time I see them, it may be the 7th or the 8th or whatever the case may be, but I'm determined for the people around me that I come in contact with that are lost, I will reach them for Jesus. And my prayer for you guys is that as you go to school and you do all these things, that you would start to take on that mentality. You would start to see people and come in contact with people, and maybe they don't even have to say anything, but you can just sense that, man, something's not right with them. And you occupy your moment and you make a difference. That's what I feel like as we wrap up this series that God is wanting to get through to you guys. Sometimes I feel like there's so many people that, they call themselves a Christian and they call themselves, all these things. They follow Jesus and they love Jesus. But you know what? I think the world is tired of hearing things. I seen a bumper sticker the other day that said, "Be the change people can believe in." I was like, man, that's pretty good. And then I started thinking about teaching tonight, and, we can say we follow Jesus all day long. Someone can tell me that they want to give me $1,000. I'm not going to believe them until I see that case full of $1,000. You tell people all the time that you serve Jesus, and we tell people that, man, God has changed my life. You know, he's doing all these things and X, Y, and Z. But if they can't see it, how do you expect them to believe in it? They can't. Because being a bullhorn and making noise only lasts so long. If all you're doing is just making noise and telling people, you know, that you're a Christian and all this kind of stuff, but you're not doing anything about it, how are they supposed to believe in that? How are they supposed to know that that could apply to their life and they could have what you have if they're not seeing you do anything? I don't know about you guys, but I don't like when people say they can do things and they never come through. It's actually kind of annoying, to tell you the truth. So why do we expect in our walk with God that it's going to be any different? Why do we expect people to believe us when we're not giving them anything to believe in? You know, Peter and John, they could have seen this guy and they could have kind of told him about Jesus and they could have kind of went around the mountain about it. But would this guy really have believed them if they didn't pull him up and do something about it? You know, it's not enough for us to just tell people that we love Jesus and that we serve him and we go to breakthrough. It's nice in theory, and I appreciate that you guys say those things. But really, it's not enough. God has called you guys to be proactive and to do something at school. I know every public school in Collier County has an FCA. How many of you guys are really plugged into FCA? In high school, anyways. You know, how many of you guys are taking the opportunity to encourage people when you're at work? Or to encourage your parents and your siblings? You know, God's given us perfect opportunities all the time, but are we really looking for those things? Are we really looking for opportunities to step up to the plate and to be brave and to say, you know what, I have this thing, I know a guy, he's pretty amazing, he changed my life, and I know that you got things going on, and do you want what I have? Because it could really be the answer to all your problems. You know, we're going to listen to this song. And it's not a Christian song, it's a Beyonce song. But the point of it is, don't get excited. Don't get excited. I want us to listen to this song. And while we're listening to this song, I want us to think about what areas in life with people that we can start occupying. Every time I listen to songs, it's one of my favorite songs ever. It always inspires me to be better. It always inspires me to occupy harder. It's just a good reminder for me personally of what God's called me to do. You know, so as we listen to this song, just be thinking about that. Close your eyes. Don't be playing around because this is serious. I believe that if you ask God to show you areas where you can occupy, he'll be faithful to show you those areas. You know, and then I'm going to get back up. I'm going to tell you guys a story, challenge you guys, and